Meals on a budget don't have to be boring. In this series, I want to walk you through how I go shopping for a few budget-friendly ingredients and turn them into a delicious meal.
Yeah, let's do it!
Today, we're going to be shopping at Aldi. First thing we're going to grab is some garlic. We're going to be infusing this in some oil and using the cooked garlic as a base for our sauce. Next, we're going to grab some fresh parsley. Honestly, you probably don't even need this, but I like garnishes. Grabbing some fresh asparagus here.
Whee!
And here's some split chicken breasts. I'm going to show you how I use every part of this. We're grabbing some pasta here. Levi loves the little shells.
Yes, I do!
Some butter. We'll only be using a stick. Salted or unsalted is completely fine. And some whole milk. We'll be using a cup or two for our sauce. All this came out to be about $18, and we're only using a fraction of some of the ingredients. Okay, on to the prep. We're going to chop up the garlic really fine. You can use a food processor or a knife. Then transfer the garlic into a small saucepan and top it off with any oil of your choice. Simmer for about an hour on the lowest heat setting, giving it a stir every 10 minutes or so. After about an hour, you should have this beautiful garlic confit, which just means it was cooked in oil. Strain out the garlic and save the oil. You'll be able to use it for so many different dishes. If you want a smoother garlic confit, you can always just blend it in a food processor. Transfer the garlic confit into a container and top it off with the oil you saved. The oil helps to preserve this garlic for longer, and you can store this in your fridge, along with the garlic oil, for up to a month. Next, we're going to make a quick brine for our chicken. All it takes is a quarter cup of kosher salt and 2 quarts of cold water. Whisk in just a little bit of the water first with the salt. This will make it easier to dissolve everything. Then just add in the rest of the water. Brining your chicken is the best way to ensure that it's juicy and seasoned. So these split chicken breasts that we got is a great way to extend your budget by using every part. We're going to remove the meat from the bones and peel off the skin. Now this will take a little bit of practice, but the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. A boning knife is the perfect tool for this step. Just carefully make an incision and follow where the flesh meets the bone. Then firmly tug the chicken breast away from the bone, making more incisions as needed. Now if your chicken breasts are really thick, you can slice them in half crosswise. Submerge your chicken in the brine and leave them in the fridge for at least 4 hours or up to overnight. Oil and salt the bones along with the skin laid flat and roast them at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 to 40 minutes or until the skin is super crispy. Fill a pot with just enough water to cover the bones and boil for 45 minutes or until reduced by half. After your chicken has finished brining, lay them on a wire rack and pat them dry on both sides before searing them. It's very important to get them very dry to ensure that we can evenly brown them on both sides. And this is where a lot of the flavor is going to be built. Preferably, find something heavy to weigh on top of the chicken. This will ensure that you don't have any uneven browning. Now I do about 3 or 4 minutes on each side, but both sides should be nicely browned before you take them out. And since we brined the chicken, the salt helps retain moisture within the meat by altering the protein structure. So it's a little bit more forgiving if you accidentally overcook these. Still gonna come out really juicy and delicious. Let the chicken breasts cool a little bit before slicing into them. I like to cut them into small cubes, but you can cut them into bigger chunks if you like. This was slightly overcooked, but you can see how it's still very moist. So I got about 1.5 pounds of chicken here, and for all the protein enthusiasts out there, it's 209 grams of protein. Okay, let's move on to our pasta. I like about a teaspoon of kosher salt to every quart of water. Cook according to the package instructions. For a pasta in a creamy sauce, I normally don't mind a little bit of a softer texture. Drain the pasta and run some cold water over it to stop it from further cooking and getting stuck in a big clump. Our chicken bones are done boiling, and you can see that the liquid has reduced about halfway. Set this aside, and we'll be using this to make our sauce next. In a Dutch oven over medium-high heat, melt 1 stick of butter and mix in half a cup of flour. We're making a very simple roux, which is just equal parts in volume of butter and flour cooked together. It's a common base for a lot of creamy sauces. Next, we're going to add in our garlic confit. I'm going to use just about 2 tablespoons, but you can use more if you want more garlic flavor. Stir and cook this for a couple of minutes before slowly adding in the chicken broth that we made. Keep stirring as you cook, and it's going to look a little bit weird. It's going to look a little bit chunky, but keep stirring and trust the process. Next, we're going to slowly start to drizzle in a little bit of the milk, a little bit at a time. Keep stirring and keep drizzling. And eventually, you're going to get this nice, smooth, and creamy consistency. And that's when you know you've added enough milk. What we've essentially made here is one of the 5 classic French mother sauces, bechamel. It's used in a lot of common dishes, including the white sauce for lasagna and the base for most mac and cheeses. It's extremely versatile, and in this dish, we're flavoring it with garlic confit and some chicken broth. But now that you know how to make it, experiment in the future with different flavors. Remember, if it's too thick, you can always stir in a little bit more milk. Finish this off with some salt and pepper, tasting this as you add a little bit at a time. Once the sauce tastes and feels the way you want it to, add in your pasta. Stir into that creamy sauce, making sure every piece is coated. You can lower the heat a little here. And if your sauce starts to thicken too much, don't be afraid to add another splash of milk. Finally, we're going to stir in our seared chicken breast. And again, we're going to make sure every piece is covered with that sauce. Cover and set this aside while we cook our asparagus. For the asparagus, I'm just going to quickly boil them in salty water, the same ratio we use for the pasta water. And now we can plate. Put a bed of asparagus down and spoon over that creamy pasta. Then sprinkle on some fresh chopped parsley. And don't forget those crispy chicken skins we roasted up. Crumble up some right on top. Create such a beautiful contrast of texture and color. And there you have it. You'll get 6 to 8 servings of this. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and leave some feedback in the comments. See you next time.